We're growing up little humans that don't even trust themselves. Cannot just keep giving kids mind education. Truly understand their superpower. Actively participate in their spiritual self. Hello, gorgeous. Today's podcast is all about the fundamentals of spirituality. We're living in a world that's quite conflicted about what it really means to be a spiritual being, right? And there are people who say, I don't believe that there's anything to us other than our bodies, and then the body dies, and that's the end of the story. Now, the truth is, nobody really knows what happens when the body dies. We've had the experience from many people sharing that there is something fundamental that seems to take place from people who've experienced leaving their body and dying for a short time, right? So they've come back with similar stories. So we know that something does happen. It involves a tunnel, it involves light, it involves some sort of continuation of the journey. What exactly happens, I guess we'll all find out when the time comes. But inside of what I want to be talking about, the topic of spirituality, and why I think it's so important for us to come together as a human race on this topic, because what I know for sure is we can't just use mind education as a barometer of intelligence. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that when we think about intelligence, a lot of us think about reading, writing, learning about maths or science or biology or, some other type of topics, that people study. And then doing exams, so having everything memorized here in your head, and then do some exams and try to remember everything and be tested in how smart you are in being able to keep all of that knowledge upstairs in your head. And then, that's really, the higher your IQ is, the more intelligent you are, right? Well, I'm here to disrupt that way of thinking and to say that there are all types of intelligences. Some people have intelligence of the body. That means they're going to be able to do things with their physical body that others just cannot do. Whether that's run faster than others or stay in cold environments for longer periods of time because they just have this resilience. Some of them are going to build that resilience and show us just how amazing the human body can be. Yeah, it maybe isn't something that they're naturally born with, but they will practice, and do remarkable things with their body. And then maybe you could say, yes, maybe it's a natural talent that they are born with, the ability to do incredible things with their body. Some people will be dancers and be able to use their body that way. Other people will have access to creativity that others just do not have. Right? And that could come in the form of writing, creative writing. That could come in the form of art, being able to paint and create spectacular pieces of art and have that talent. Some will be able to create music, have the ability to, even without necessarily knowing how to, read music or learn music in a normal way, they might be able to still have that talent of their voice and be able to create rhythms and melodies and all kinds of stuff. So I am here to say, no, it is not just the intelligence of mind. There is intelligence that is beyond just what the mind can conceive. And once we start understanding that, we'll be able to start making the changes of supporting people in the world to get the right education, right? Education is about the inner being, your essence, connecting to, I call it, your divine self. your spiritual self, the part of you that came into this world with nothing and is going to leave with nothing, right? There is an aspect of self that when you start doing things like meditation, when you start doing things like visualization, manifestation, and learning more about yourself through introspection, right? That you discover that there is a self that has the potential, right, to literally create reality. Yes, there is an intelligence inside of us that is driven by our thoughts, feelings, and our actions. So what we think creates feelings, and those feelings motivate our actions. We can either be teaching people to be afraid a lot, and therefore it means that they're taking decisions and actions from a place of fear, right? We can be teaching people lack of trust. Don't trust anyone, don't trust. This lack of trust has gone so far that most people don't even trust themselves. Oof. Just take a moment to realize the impact of what I just said. We're growing up little humans that don't even trust themselves. Yes, because unfortunately, a lot of what they're learning from society, from religion, from their parents is you're not trustworthy. Yes, you're not trustworthy. And I know it's triggering if you're a parent listening to this. I know it's triggering if you are a leader, maybe a school teacher or someone out there in society trying to make a difference. Okay? But let's understand something very clearly. If you haven't learned something, it's very difficult to teach it to somebody else, right? So when I talk about trusting, trust yourself, develop the ability to trust yourself, this will require a lot of adult humans to become brutally honest with themselves, right? To be able to stay in a place where you literally would look yourself in the mirror and say, do I trust myself? Have I worked enough on understanding who I am that I trust the thoughts that I'm having? I trust my feelings that I'm experiencing. I trust the actions that I'm taking. I trust my energetic frequency that I'm putting out into the world. I trust myself. I trust myself to recognize the difference between what is right and what is wrong and speak up and act upon that. Because a lot of us see things that we don't agree with, see things that we just feel like, why is this happening? But we stay silent because we're scared. We're scared to put ourselves out there. We're scared of what other people are going to think when we trust ourselves enough to say, I am going to raise my hand and speak up, even if nobody asked me to raise my hand, even if nobody asked me to speak up. But when there is something that isn't right, for example, our school system, that continues to produce a curriculum that is putting kids under so much pressure that they are starting to pop pills in order to cope with being able to focus, pop pills to stay up all night so that they can study, pop pills to go to sleep so that they can rest because they're so scared that they might not pass those exams, that they might not have the intelligence that the world is looking for. And we have all these parents all around the world that continue to support these school systems, seeing their children struggling, seeing their children, getting problems, yes, emotional problems, mental health problems because of the pressure that they're being put under this curriculum. But instead of coming together and saying, is there another way that we can be empowering young kids? Is there another system, or is there room in the system for massive overhaul and upgrading and up-leveling so that we can reduce the raising depression, suicide, mental breakdown, ADD diagnosis, right? That rising diagnosis that kids are having of not being enough, not being good enough, right? And I know so many parents that are under a huge amount of pressure to invest more money on extra lessons and extra studies and try to help their kids while they're coping with their own problems at their work or in their environment, to try to show up for these kids to be able to go through what is quite an aggressive system of creating a type of intelligence that is considered, that is what it is. That's what it is, right? So forget about being an artist, forget about being an actor, forget about being some form of creative. You've got to make a lot of money. And in order to make a lot of money, you've got to have the highest education possible. And if you can go to more master's degrees, more PhDs, yeah, you don't just need one PhD these days, you need to have 5 PhDs or whatever it is, right? Feel the exhaustion from this misguided, misleading information about human intelligence. This podcast, and please share this with as many people as you can, is a shout out to leaders that are tired of just standing on the sidelines and watching things happening that just aren't correct anymore. Now, there may have been a time and place where the school system did its job, but that time has come and gone. Most of the school systems need to start implementing heart intelligence. They need to start teaching kids about how to actively participate in their spiritual self, connecting to their divine essence, connecting with the truth about love and life. Some fundamentals which they could learn so easily, because if you're learning A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then trust me, you can learn how to stop your mind from taking you into negative thought patterns and to train your mind to be still. You can teach a kid to read complex language. You can teach a kid to become emotionally intelligent, to understand how to deal with their negative emotions, how to deal with their negative thought patterns, outbursts, anger outbursts, jealousy outbursts, bullying. All this bullying that we see that's growing and growing in the world would start to diminish when we would have education that truly educates. Yes, that gives tools to kids how to stay heart-centered, how to stay loving and respectful to yourself first, and then spread that courtesy and that energy to others. This isn't rocket science. Why isn't it already happening in every single school all over the world? Why aren't there more parents saying, no, we cannot just keep giving kids mind education and expecting them to do all these exams and expecting everyone to be the same. We're not producing soldiers. We're producing individuals. And we need to look at each individual child and where they shine, what comes naturally to them, and how we can build their confidence by giving them access to systems that allow them to truly understand their superpower, which is, by the way, what I do in my course with adults. I have adults who are doing work that doesn't light them up. They are being involved in careers that they're done with, but they don't know how to pivot because, they don't know how to let go of what they know and allow themselves to embrace the new. I've helped thousands of people reinvent themselves, reconnect with themselves, and find the truth that their heart wanted them to follow. A truth that gets trampled in the society as garbage. Let's listen to this. This is the highest form of intelligence in the world, right? Let your heart, let your head lead. Think about it. Think about it. When what we need to do is become quiet, become still, and listen. The heart knowledge isn't something that requires thinking. You will receive, you will download the wisdom of your heart. If we would take the time to really come together, people from all walks of life, whether you're Muslim or whether you're Christian or whether you're Jewish, whatever walk of life you're from, and we would discuss how can we connect spiritually, what is the essence of spirituality, the fundamentals of spirituality, that we can then teach in schools so that kids are not just receiving mind knowledge, but they're also receiving wisdom of the heart. It would require a coming together and access their spiritual self, the divine self, the self that is unconditional love, that can be activated through this human form and can start expressing through what you say, what you think, what you feel, and what you do in the world. I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to learn about who am I, the question, who am I, that I got that education. I only started with 22, 23 years old. That was when I started. I'm 53 today, and I'm just so grateful that my life path led me to this wisdom. With this wisdom, I have been able to hack my own system, find joy, find peace, find my superpowers, right? What I'm really good at and what can give me confidence. And then I've been able to help others do the same. Spirituality matters. It matters a lot. We can't just chuck it out and say we can't talk about it because we might fight, right? Because everyone has a different opinion about what that means. We need to put those opinions to the side, and we need to come together as a human race to find fundamentals that we can all agree with. For example, when you teach a child breathing techniques, the breath alters your flow of thoughts, right? We know that when people go into panic attacks, it's because their breath is out of control. And usually when you start adjusting the breath, you will start adjusting the mind waves, right? These are simple techniques, So we teach them the power of breath. Breath brings you into the present moment, and when you're connected to the present moment, you become more still and quiet. When you start to still your mind, still your emotions, and be more in the vertical plane of consciousness, present, you access your spiritual self. Once you access the self, all feelings of anger, hate, confusion, self-loathing, feeling uncomfortable, dissolve and disappear. And you feel empowered and enlightened. It is our duty as adults to learn about spiritual fundamentals that are not about what's written in books or the labels that we're giving spirituality, right? Like labels of I'm Christian, I'm Jewish, I'm this, I'm Pentecostal, I'm whatever, right? We need to go further. Yes, we've sent a man to the moon. Surely we can enhance human beings through simple strategies and techniques that we know work and that create more love inside of people and therefore will create more love in the world. Spread this to as many people as you can. I'm sending you all of my love, and come back next week so that I can continue serving you and we can continue riding this wave of bringing more beauty into the world. Love you. Mwah.